Alright, today we're going to be making these chewy pumpkin spice cookies. Don't those look good? Alright, the first thing we need to do before we get started is we need to wash our hands. Now, if you don't have a sink in the classroom, then you can just use some hand sanitizer. Put it on your hands. Make sure you get the back of your hands too and clean them really good. Now that your hands are clean, we can get the ingredients together and we can get started on these cookies. And I've got 2 sheet pans lined up just like this with parchment paper to get ready for our cookies. We need to set our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and get that warming up while we mix the ingredients. For our chewy pumpkin cookies, we're going to need 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter. We need 1 cup of packed light brown sugar. We need 2 egg yolks. We need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we need 1/2 cup of pumpkin puree that I've already pressed out the water in with a paper towel to get it down to about 1/4 cup. Pumpkin has a lot of water in it. And if we don't take it out, the cookies are going to be too wet. And then we need flour. We need all-purpose flour, 1 3/4 cup. We need a tablespoon of pumpkin spice. Then we need a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. First thing we need to do is whisk our dry ingredients together. So we've got our flour, we've got our pumpkin spice, then we've got our baking soda, our baking powder, and our salt. Now what we need to do is whisk all these together to get these combined. See how that pumpkin spice is turning the flour a little brownish color? That's what we're looking for. That means that the flour and the pumpkin spice and the salt and everything is getting evenly distributed there. And that's it. Now we're ready for the next step. Alright, so now we need to add the butter and the brown sugar to a stand mixer. You can also do this with a hand blender in a bowl. Should we get all that butter in there? Alright, now we need to add our brown sugar. Okay, now we need to mix this together on high speed for 1 to 2 minutes until we get this light and fluffy. Alright, now that our brown sugar and our butter are creamed together, this is what it should look like. Okay, now we can add the rest of our ingredients. Alright, so now we're going to add in our egg yolks. Scrape it off there. And our vanilla. Okay. Now we're going to mix this on medium speed until it's light and fluffy. So after about 2 minutes, this is what it looks like now. Now we're going to add in our pumpkin puree. And we're just going to mix this on medium speed until we just combine it. Alright, now we're going to add in our flour mixture. And we're just going to mix this on low speed just until it's combined. If you mix this too much, then you're going to have a tough cookie because you have developed what's called gluten inside the flour, and that's going to make you have a tough cookie. That's why we're going to do it just until we get this all mixed together. Alright, as you can see, there's a little bit of flour left in here. That's okay. I'm just going to take a rubber spatula and just gently mix that together. That way I make sure I do not over mix my cookie dough, because the last thing anybody wants is a tough cookie. It's okay to be a tough cookie, but you don't want to eat a tough cookie. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we will scoop out our cookies. We need about a 2 tablespoon scoop. So I'm using this yellow disher here, and we'll see how many cookies we get out of this. So I'm just going to finish scooping these up, and I'll be back when we need to put them in the oven. For our spiced sugar, we're going to need a 1/4 cup of granulated white sugar, and we need 1/2 teaspoon of pumpkin spice. Okay, so I ended up getting 6 cookies per tray, so that's a total of 12 cookies. And now I'm going to mix the sugar that we have with the pumpkin spice mix. We're going to mix this together, and we're going to roll our cookie balls in this cinnamon spice sugar mixture. So now that we've got this all mixed together, let's roll these cookies up. Alright, so all we're going to do is take one of our dough balls, we're going to roll it up, and we're going to roll it into this sugar spice mix. Okay, then we're going to put the cookie back on the tray. That's all there is to it. Make sure your hands are clean for this. So just roll it around in the spiced sugar, and there you go. I'm going to finish all these and then we'll put them in the oven. Alright, all of our cookies are rolled in the spiced sugar mixture. I pushed them down just a little bit, just a little tap. Just push them down a little bit. Now we're going to bake these in the oven at our oven that's already preheated to 350 degrees. And we're going to bake these for 12 to 14 minutes. This depends. 12 minutes will give you a chewier cookie, and the 14 minutes will give you a crunchier cookie. So it just depends on what you like. I'm going to go for chewy on these. Alright, so the cookies just came out of the oven. Don't they look good? But don't touch them yet. They're still very hot. They need to cool for 5 minutes, and then we can transfer them over to a rack to cool completely. They need to cool for at least 15 minutes before we can eat some. Here are the cookies cooling on the racks. Alright, this is what our cookies look like when they're out of the oven. Don't those look good? Can't you wait to eat one? Alright, let's see how one of these comes out. Look at this. They're nice and they're soft. Look how soft that is. Look how easy they come apart. And look at that center in the middle. Those are nice and chewy. Wow, look at those. These are very good cookies. Pumpkin spice chewy cookies. Enjoy.